Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. Really glad you could join us today.
Yeah, welcome.
This is where we try to break down some pretty complex topics, pull out the key insights for you. Today, we're jumping into Genesis chapter 21.
Mm-hmm.
It covers the birth of Isaac and also Hagar's banishment. It's really packed with drama, divine promises, some surprising stuff in there.
Absolutely. Genesis 21 is, well, it's pivotal. It's not just events. It's where promises meet reality, but also where things get incredibly difficult for the people involved.
Exactly. And our goal here is to give you a clear pathway through it, make this ancient story feel relevant, maybe point out a few things you hadn't noticed before. We want you to feel informed.
It really connects human emotion and, the divine plan in a very raw way.
Okay, so let's get started. The chapter kicks off with something Abraham and Sarah have waited for just decades.
An incredibly long time.
Right. Verse 1 says it so simply. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. After all the waiting, all the doubt, boom, God delivers.
And the key detail here, it's not just that she had a son, but how improbable it was. Verse 2 points out, it's in her old age, and specifically at the set time.
Yeah, the timing is crucial.
And Abraham, he's 100 years old when Isaac is born.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this isn't just a surprise baby.
No way.
It's biologically. Well, it screams miracle.
Yeah.
It underlines that God's promises operate on his schedule, his logic, often specifically defying our expectations.
And the name Isaac, it means he laughs. Sarah's reaction is just brilliant. God hath made me to laugh so that all who hear will laugh with me. You can almost hear the relief and maybe a bit of triumphant disbelief in her voice.
Just pure astonishment. She even says, who would have possibly told Abraham Sarah would nurse children?
Yeah, for I have borne him a son in his old age. It's that mix of wonder and maybe vindication after everything.
Definitely. And then the story quickly hits two really key cultural milestones. First, Isaac's circumcision at 8 days old.
Right, as God had commanded. That's the covenant sign.
Exactly. It links him directly to the promise God made earlier. And then the great feast when Isaac was weaned. Weaning back then was a huge deal.
Took longer, right, like maybe 2 or 3 years old.
Often, yeah. So this feast wasn't just a party, it was a public declaration. This child has made it. He's past that initial fragile stage. He's the heir. It solidifies his status.
So just imagine, put yourself in their sandals for a second. All those years, thinking maybe it wouldn't happen, trying their own workarounds.
Mm-hmm. Like with Hagar earlier.
Right. And then this undeniable fulfillment. It must have completely reshaped how they saw God's faithfulness, what seems impossible for us. Well, it's just Tuesday for God's plan, maybe?
It's a powerful lesson in trust, definitely. And patience.
Okay, but then the tone shifts dramatically. And frankly, it gets pretty uncomfortable right after this celebration, this weaning feast.
Yeah, this is where things take a sharp turn.
Sarah sees Hagar's son Ishmael mocking, that's the word used in verse 9, and this one word, it just ignites everything.
And that word mocking, metzachek in Hebrew, it's debated. Is it just childish play like Isaac's name, laughter? Or is it something more like scorn, derision? Especially given the context.
Context of inheritance, rivalry.
Exactly. Whatever it was, Sarah's reaction is fierce, immediate. She demands Abraham cast out this bondwoman and her son, and she gives the reason. For the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. It's stark. This is about legacy, about who carries the specific promise.
And you really feel for Abraham here. The text says, the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. He loves Ishmael. This isn't just some servant's kid. This is his firstborn.
He'd raised him for, 13, 14 years by this point?
Sending him away, that had to be gut-wrenching.
But then God steps in directly, tells Abraham, essentially, don't let this tear you up about the boy or Hagar.
Right. God says, in all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
So God affirms the covenant line through Isaac. It's not necessarily saying Sarah's method or attitude is right, but that the outcome aligns with his specific promise regarding Isaac.
But crucially, God doesn't just discard Ishmael. He immediately adds another promise.
Yes, this is so important. And also, of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. God has a plan for Ishmael too. A peril destiny, you could say.
So there's this divine purpose, even within this really painful human situation. 2 sons, 2 nations.
Exactly. It shows God's care extends beyond that primary covenant line.
So Abraham obeys, gets up early, gives Hagar some bread, a skin of water, puts it on her shoulder, gives her the child, and sends them off into the wilderness of Beersheba. just like that.
It's a brutal picture, isn't it? Obedience, yes, but rooted in human conflict and leading to real hardship.
It makes you think about how divine will sometimes works through, or maybe even uses, our messy human realities.
It certainly does.
Okay, so the focus shifts now entirely to Hagar and Ishmael. And it's bleak. They're alone in the wilderness. Water runs out. I mean, this is it.
This is rock bottom.
Hagar puts the boy under a bush because she just can't watch him die. She goes off a bow shot away, sits down, and just weeps. Can you even fathom that kind of despair? A mother watching her child waste away, completely helpless.
It's utterly heartbreaking. But it's right there in that absolute lowest moment that God intervenes.
Verse 17. God heard the voice of the lad, not Hagar's weeping, interestingly, but the boy's voice.
Yes, and the angel calls out from heaven, "What aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not." Such comforting words. For God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is.
And then the command and the promise, reiterated. Arise, lift up the lad and hold him in thine hand, for I will make him a great nation.
It's not just rescue. It's a reaffirmation of Ishmael's destiny. God's specific attention is on him, even in exile. It shows that care we mentioned, extending to both sons.
And the help isn't just words, it's immediate, practical. God opened her eyes and she saw a well of water.
That detail is fascinating. Opened her eyes. Was the well there all along?
Seems like it. Maybe hidden by her despair, her tears, until God showed her. It's a powerful image of how provision can be right there if we just have our eyes open to it.
So she gives him water, saves his life, and from that point, Ishmael's path forward is set.
The text says, God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness.
And became an archer. He adapts, becomes skilled in that environment, self-sufficient.
He lives in the wilderness of Paran, and then his mother gets him a wife from Egypt, her homeland.
Right. This establishes his own lineage, his own national identity, separate from Isaac's, fulfilling that promise God made. It's a story of resilience, absolutely, but also of God's ongoing care, even when paths diverge dramatically.
Okay, so we've had this intense family drama, joy, sorrow, rescue. Now the chapter sort of shifts gears again. We move into what feels like ancient diplomacy almost.
Yeah, it's quite a change of pace. Abraham has an encounter with Abimelech.
King of Gerar, right?
Yeah.
And his army commander, Phishol.
And Abimelech comes to Abraham and says something really significant. God is with thee in all that thou doest.
That's a major statement from a local king. He sees Abraham's success, his favor, and attributes it directly to God.
It shows Abraham's reputation is growing. He's not just some nomad. He's clearly under divine blessing, and other rulers are noticing. Which leads Abimelech to want
a treaty. He wants Abraham to swear an oath that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son. He's seeking long-term security.
It's fascinating. Abimelech recognizes the power associated with Abraham's God and wants to be allied, essentially. It shows how the divine promise is already impacting the political landscape.
But Abraham doesn't just jump into the treaty. He has a bone to pick first.
Right. He calls Abimelech out, says, hey, what about that what your servants violently took away?
Water rights. In the desert, that's everything. Abraham is asserting his claim, demanding recognition of his rights.
Abimelech pleads ignorance. I don't know who did it. You never told me. I just heard about it today. Whether that's true or just diplomatic maneuvering.
Who knows? But they move forward. Abraham gives Abimelech sheep and oxen, and they make a covenant. Standard practice, sealing the deal.
But then Abraham does something extra. He sets aside 7 ewe lambs separately.
Yeah, that's specific. Abimelech asks, what's with these 7 lambs?
And Abraham explains, they are a witness that I have dug this well. It's like a public, symbolic proof of ownership. He's making sure his right to that specific vital well is embedded within the treaty.
Very clever. And that act names the place. Therefore, he called that place Beersheba.
The well of the oath, or the well of the 7, perhaps referencing the lambs. The name itself becomes a monument to their agreement.
So they make the treaty there, Abimelech goes home, and then Abraham does one last thing in Beersheba.
He plants a grove, Camaruscan tree perhaps, and calls on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God.
It's an act of worship, of settling, of claiming the space, not just legally, but spiritually. Even while he's living as a foreigner, a sojourner in the Philistines' land.
Exactly. This whole section, while different from the family story, ties into themes of land, resources, making peace, establishing rights, and importantly, maintaining faith and worship in a new place. It shows Abraham navigating the practical world, always undergirded by his relationship with God.
The miracle of Isaac's birth.
That long-awaited laughter.
To the really tough, complex story of Hagar and Ishmael's banishment, and then God's direct intervention for them.
Yeah, meeting them right in their desperation.
And finishing with this treaty at Beersheba, establishing peace, asserting rights, planting roots, and worshiping God.
The thread through it all, I think, is God's faithfulness. It looks different in different situations, fulfilling the specific covenant with Isaac, providing mercifully for Ishmael, giving Abraham standing with local rulers, but it's consistently there.
Even when the human characters are flawed, making difficult, even painful choices.
Especially then, perhaps. It shows divine purpose, working through and sometimes despite human actions. Both the sons, Isaac and Ishmael, are set on paths to become nations, guided by God's overarching plan.
So as you think about this chapter, maybe consider that dynamic we see here, how moments of incredible joy and really deep sorrow can be so closely linked.
They often are in life, aren't they?
Yeah, and how even out of hardship, out of being sent away, new paths, even new nations can arise. What does this ancient story tell you about resilience, about divine care, about how history unfolds? It's a lot to chew on.
Definitely food for thought.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive today. We really appreciate you being here and engaging with these stories. Your presence really does make these discussions better. Yeah. And hey, if you enjoyed this or maybe something from a previous discussion resonated with you, we'd love to know what's a favorite verse or insight you've taken away. Let us know down in the comments.
Yeah, it's always great to hear what connects with people.
And of course, if you found this valuable, please do consider liking this discussion. Maybe share it with someone else you think might appreciate it. And subscribing to the channel, Peace Project for All, means you won't miss our future deep dives.
We appreciate the support.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. We'll catch you next time.